Thomas Frank may have started out with a bad haircut, shilling his BDSM desk at college InfoGeek, but over the last few years, he has transcended into the ranks of one of the most well-respected figures in the creator economy. Thomas now makes hundreds of thousands a month, primarily through selling templates on Notion. Now, that might seem a bit insane, but when you understand the power of the community he's built, it'll all start to make a bit more sense. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. We're going to dissect how Thomas Frank built one of the most engaged communities in the productivity space. By the way, if you're new to the channel, I'm Tom and this is the Community Labs. And if you really want to understand how community is built, we've got an incredible ebook for you which deep dives into loads of incredible community builders and shares their best sort of tips and tactics so you can take them away and apply them to building your own community. The first lesson we can take from Thomas is something he calls passion mashing. Now, this is kind of similar to something we discovered a couple of weeks ago with Greg Eisenberg and what he calls super niching. Now, whereas super niching is taking two niches and combining them together, so the example we used was AI and productivity and how Greg used that to develop You Probably Need a Robot, passion mashing is a little bit different. You just have your one niche, so Thomas Frank, it's productivity. What you do is to add a bit of flavor and intrigue and become kind of more relatable to your audience, you just talk about all of your other passions as well. So Thomas Frank, he's got a load of them and he's quite phasical, I think, like me, in what he gets interested in. So a few years ago, he was big into anime and he would kind of reference that a lot in his videos. I think over lockdown, he got into some weird like rollerblading obsession. Maybe he still does it. And this isn't going to resonate with everyone in your audience, but some of it will. And an example of this is weightlifting. So Thomas Frank on his Instagram just started posting his lifts of his weight lifts as he was trying to improve his bench and his deadlift and his squat. And that really brought me into his Instagram and I started following that and it inspired me to then go and smash my bench PB. And this is, you can see how different community members would go through the same journey. You're not going to resonate with every single passion that he has, but because he's putting all of this stuff out there, something is going to resonate and you're going to feel much, much more connected to the creator. So I think this is one definite lesson that we can take away from Thomas Frank. If you have got a larger niche like he does of productivity, don't be afraid to just start talking about other interests you have as well. And some people it's going to resonate with and they're going to be much, much more engaged in the content that you put out. So the next lesson we can learn from Thomas Frank is to not be dogmatic about our revenue streams. So when Thomas first started, he was making nearly all of his money in sponsorships for his videos and YouTube ads. And actually watching an early Ali Abdaal video, he was saying that when he got to a certain amount of subscribers, Thomas came along and said, hey, you know, I know how you can kind of get the best sponsorships. Here's my agency. Let me help you out here. So he was a bit of a daddy in the sponsorship space for the creator economy. But he didn't just stick with that. He saw that there was huge opportunity for him to provide a ton more value to his audience by building products. And that's what he's done with his Notion templates. So he saw this trend come along in kind of 2018, made a completely new YouTube channel called Thomas Frank Explains, started from zero, so said goodbye to all of that sponsorship content and put all of his time into building incredibly high quality videos in the Notion space. And that's paid off for him over time because he can now deliver so much more value to his audience through these templates that he's creating that they're willing to spend top dollar on because they know they're going to improve their lives. So don't be afraid to take a risk. There's so many different ways that communities can be monetized, whether it's through courses or ad revenue or products that you might want to sell. So really just take a look at what's the best way that I can add value to this community. And more than likely, that's also going to be the best way that you can monetize. So one thing about Thomas is his consistency, I suppose. Like he's been doing, this for like 10 years now, probably longer, and he doesn't seem to be running out of steam. Now, I'm not going to do another lesson on consistency. I think we've covered that. We've beaten that topic to death a bit over this channel, but more really understanding how it is that he's enabling himself to play this infinite game. And it's quite simple. He is just talking and selling products about problems that he experiences himself. So at the moment, look through his Twitter feed, he is building a product on how people can go and get sponsorship deals. And he's writing this because he's been through this problem before, he's solved this problem himself, and now he wants to share it. The same with his Notion template. The first templates he sold were actually around how to manage a YouTube channel. So how to get your videos, put the B-roll in, and kind of manage that whole flow. This is very niche and very personal to him. It's just a problem that he solved, he's built it out himself, and then he's offered it to the audience. The same with Ultimate Brain. It was a system that he built for him to manage his knowledge, or I'm sure it was, he might have had his community in mind as well. But he knew that if it was a problem that he was facing, then his community, because he's brought them along with him and they're invested in the same things that he's invested in, are also going to find value in it. And this is why Thomas Frank can play the infinite game. No one can compete with him because he's not competing with anybody. He's just going out there doing what he does every day, and he just happens to be selling these products and making money from it. It's an absolutely ideal business model because you don't need to worry about constantly coming up with new product ideas. You don't need to worry about constantly battling off competitors. All you need to worry about is, how can I make my life better today? What problems for myself am I going to solve? Then I'm going to create a solution to that problem and put it out there. And this is why I really hate communities that are just built off the back of trends. You see it so much at the moment with, you know, the AI mania. Everybody is building a community based on AI. And it's like, bro, are you really going to be interested in that in 5 years, 10 years time? Like when this hype cycle has died? Of course you're not. But you've built a community that only cares about AI. So if you start to try and talk about different things, they're not going to be receptive to that. Whereas what Thomas has done is he's played the much longer game. He's brought along the community that is interested in what he's interested in. And now anything he puts out, any problem that he wants to solve for himself, he knows there's going to be a market for it. So don't be short-sighted when you're building a community. Do something that you can see longevity in. Don't just follow these trends, and you're going to be in a much better position in 5 years' time when the growth really starts to compound. So hopefully you found that useful. That's 3 really useful lessons we can take from Thomas, from passion mashing to being flexible with your revenue streams, and finally playing the infinite game by creating content and products around problems that you want to solve. So if you like that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We make new videos like this every single week with a different community hero, and we've also got that ebook as well that you can download in the description. Thanks a lot and enjoy the rest of your day.